cross-country season, all these guys go to BU like 2 weeks later, or a few weeks later, I should say. No, a couple weeks later, and get these monster PRs.
Take a week to rest up, get the legs a little bit calmed down, but take advantage of all that base fitness that they've built.
Yeah.
The strength that they have. And, we saw it a little bit, 15 years ago. The women of Providence would do this, and then it started to become a little bit more common that we'd see not just the Ray Tracy's athletes, but a few more of them as well. And here's Alana Karstens of Evergreen State, that's Zoe Hawk of the UO Running Club, finishing up women's 5K.
It's interesting.
Next.
In this men's 5K, we're going to see Thomas Ratcliffe again, who was third in that 1500 in 3:38:24. There he is. And it'd be interesting to see how he does. His dad, a very good friend of mine, Tom Ratcliffe, represents a lot of the Nike Oregon Track Club athletes and has been a big man in the documentary world, producing a terrific documentary on the 1968 Olympics and also on Roger Bannister that has won numerous awards. Thomas third in 2019 in the NCAA 5,000 for Stanford. Kind of came down with Coach Jerry Schumacher to run with this Nike OTC team. Will be an interesting double, because that 1500 was such a high-level event, easily the most high-level event that we saw in tonight.
And looking at who we've got on the track now, it appears Hamilton and Ratcliffe are looking to be two of the pacers.
Ah, is that what he's doing?
And
okay.
Hamilton was on paper as a pacer. I don't see him out there, so
I don't either. Yeah.
Likely just.
So they're pacing through 3,000. I got you.
So we're off in the men's 5,000.
Joshua Schumacher is in this field. That's Coach Jerry Schumacher's son. Joshua himself, a top student athlete, was honored by the Big Ten for student athlete, one of the student athletes of the year. Apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I guess.
Certainly not, and Schumacher mixing in right in the middle. We've got Del Barrio, Ratcliffe, Legel, your top three right now. Evan Burke, I believe all three of them are pacing up front. And Evan Burke of Oregon, Evan Bishop and Joshua Schumacher also of Oregon. We've got Jack Meyer running unattached. Brock Olson and Lucas Holdren of K-State. Henry Axon and Eric Bar Zylan of the UO Running Club rounding out the field. And Del Barrio getting them off and leading them through to help out some of these pacers that are going to aim to go around 3K.
Well, we don't know what the pace is supposed to be through 3K. We know that Lodgell is supposed to pace along with Ratcliffe, but we don't know what the pace is supposed to be.
Get a peek as they come through with 1,000 meters. Can probably take an educated guess About 210 through 800. So a pack of 7 here. And it seems like Evan Burke, the first one of the non-pacer group. Burke, Bishop, Schumacher, and Meyer.
See, Lodgell, who's in third, he was supposed to be a pace setter here.
Here's the chase group. Boldrin, Olson, Barzilin, and Axon. So 243 was pace through 1,000 meters.
Okay, well, 243, that means that we're running at 13:30 and change pace, a little over 13:30. So that definitely helps out.
Yeah, checks out based on the personal best of some in this heat as well. Schumacher 1340s, Bishop 1340s, Evan Burks from 1338. So for that group, running somewhere in the 1330s, probably a good target for this time of year.
Yeah, agreed. Of course, we saw Sergio Del Barrio in the steeple earlier today. And boy, you talk about impressive performances. Benny Balaz in that steeple today really looked like he was in late season form.
Comfortable pace throughout and closed really hard in the low 60s for that last lap, and was able to do it really showing no signs of fatiguing until maybe the last 600 or so, and doing so on a strong close. And we're approaching 1,800 meters.
Evan Burke is a former Stanford runner, has a lifetime best of 13:38.45 in the 5 and 28:31.08 in the 10. Now that 28:31.08 that he ran was just 2 weeks ago at the Stanford Invitational.
Del Barrio stepping out. And it'll be Ratcliffe's pacing duties. They manage about 5:28 through 2K, so continuing on a similar pace.
Thomas Ratcliffe is one of those guys that's had a little bit of bad luck in his career. Very promising college runner with that third at the NCAAs in the hot heat and humidity of Austin in 2019. Was 7th at the U.S. Olympic trials last year in the 5,000, but kind of ran his best last year after the trials when he ran that 7:37 in Paris. He also ran a 13:14 5K last summer. His dad, a very good miler at Brown. His sister, a good 5K runner at Brown. Concord, Massachusetts. And speaking of Concord, Massachusetts, it would go without saying that the Boston Marathon is coming up on Monday. I'm sure his dad will be in Concord or somewhere watching that battle. Looks like it may be a pretty good year for U.S. marathoners. Connor Mance, Clayton Young, C.J. Albertson up there on the men's side could be factors in that race.
Certainly a race that often comes down to weather, and whether it's heat, wind, rain, but always
or cold.
exciting. Or cold. Could be 70, could be 30. This year seems to be on the warmer side, approaching in Boston, especially for those that train through a winter in the Northeast. Ratcliffe doing well here, chipping away at 65-second laps since he's taken over the lead.
He has.
Keep him right on that target.
And, the last 400s, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, and 65. He's got a metronome in that head of his. Now, Lodgell was supposed to be a pace setter, and I'm wondering now whether he is or not.
Well,
he
if
looks
you get
pretty
through
comfortable
3,000,
in there.
sitting comfortably, you get through 3,000, maybe you start to think, all right, what can I do here as they come through in 8:11.
We just lost Josh Schumacher. Yeah, Lodgell looks good. Junior. And Thomas steps off.
Yeah, he steps off and gave a little bit of a signal, trying to point to Lodgell that he was going to take that time to step off. Lodgell kind of egging on Burke and Bishop to talk to each other, work together. And Bishop moves up the inside to make sure he's got some room to run, and Burke doesn't want to have to lead the chase here on his own.
Now,
nice job for Bishop to bridge that gap really quickly.
Lodgell ran 28:29:17 at Stanford a couple weeks ago in the 10K. So he's fit as a fiddle, formerly at Providence. And now there's separation between Bishop and Burke. It's like the 10 Little Indians, right? Every lap somebody seems to either drop out or drop back. But Lodgell looks full of run.
Yeah, and for the first time he's actually shown a little bit of something on his face, but for a while I think that mental capacity of Lodgell just locking in on pacing duties, he didn't seem to really tire at all. And now here he's talking to Bishop a little bit. Seems like he's ready to step wide or step off. So we're going to go side by side and help his teammate out as far as he can. It's always nice when you can get a little bit of a surge, a little bit of momentum when a rabbit steps off. So he is talking
still talking
to Bishop.
to him.
Yeah.
He's still talking to him. Interesting.
That was the first 77 we've seen. So, as we mentioned, lots of 65s. And then there was a 66, a 67. So a little under 1,200 meters to go now. And Bishop's going to have to do a lot on his own, as he's got about 5 seconds on Evan Burke that it really was that lap where that 5-second gap formed.
It really was. So Bishop, 359 miler, 750 3K guy, 1345 5,000 guy. It looks like he's going to shatter his PR if he can keep this up in the 5,000. 28:30 10K man. He's from Wisconsin. No wonder why Coach Schumacher went after him. Of course, Coach Schumacher, formerly of Wisconsin himself. And Evan Bishop back in 23 was fourth in the Big Ten cross-country championships. Sixth indoors in the Big Ten and 3,000 and 5,000. So this whole race was one big setup for Evan Bishop to get a PR, and it's likely that he will.
Well, as you mentioned, Evan Bishop, 13:45 personal best, and that dates back to 2022 at the Oregon Relays when he was running for Wisconsin.
Must have fallen in love with Hayward Field after getting the PR there. And now 3 years later, he's going to get what looks to be another PR His Oregon teammates need to make way for him there, though.
A little bit of maneuvering he's got to do now as he approaches.
1 lap to go coming up here. He'll pass the common start finish line. So we'll keep the eye on the clock. So 13:45 is lifetime best. He's going to pass here in, let's see what he's got here. He's passing by in 12:40. Well, he's going to have to push it. He's going to have to hit the accelerator here to get under that 13:45.
He's run 266s back-to-back, so he's got to certainly run faster than that. He had a little bit of a surge at the bell when he saw 12:39, knows that it's within reach, and maybe maneuvering around some of those lapped runners was starting to affect him. We'll see if they get out of the way here. Would certainly help him to not have to run on the outside.
No kidding. 200 to go. He's got, oh boy, it's going to be tough. Well, I said that about Annika Thompson, but this one is going to be really tough. Let's see.
Here comes Bishop down the home stretch, chasing a personal best, but he's going to secure the win here in the Oregon Open 5000. And a strong close from Evan Bishop. A big setup for Bishop to come out, and he'll smash a PB. 13:42.
That last 200 was really fast.
63.42 seconds. Fastest lap, and he was able to muster it up after seeing the time on the clock. Here comes Evan Burke in second. Did so much work to help his teammate Evan Bishop, and Burke just faded a bit the last 1,500 meters or so, wasn't able to hang on to the pace once they surpassed 3.5 kilometers.
It's kind of the story of never have so many helped one person. The number of pace setters and rigmarole was interesting. Almost like you would have felt guilty if you didn't get a PR.
Yeah, surrounded by his 3 pacers and 3 teammates that were all there with him. And he certainly took advantage of the day. And we talked about it earlier today. This temperature, it could be a bit warm. If you're running in June and, had high 60s for a 5K, your body's used to it, but training through the winter in Oregon, you're not, here he is shaking hands with his teammates. Connor Burns right there.
Yeah.
And, he's
also,
but he comes
Vinny
out
Metzler.
here and, but he comes out here and, a warm April day after, training in relatively cold conditions throughout the winter, and it's tough for the body to handle that, especially coming off it. It might not really phase you late in the summer, but this time of year certainly something that's a little bit unusual for you to have to handle.
And there's Lodgell giving that final instructions. And then a really fast last 200 here for Bishop. We briefly saw Bishop fist pump Josh Seitz, who is the fantastic director of ops at the University of Oregon. And there seems like a very, very close Oregon group of runners, which is really nice to see. The esprit de corps and the beautiful Hayward Tower. There are the 2 Evans. It's a nice image.
$13.42 for Evan Bishop.